Okay, we're doing it. As promised, we are going to go over this topic of organizing your training into focused blocks of work, aka periodization. I know this isn't like the sexiest topic, and that it would be a lot more interesting if this TV was about, fun exercises to increase your back bend in Cobra and all of that stuff. And I love that too. But this is something that I seriously wish I knew earlier. So I just wanted to share the down and dirty, like basic details of it with you. So things to know about this is one, that you are not going to fuck it up. I'm going to give you a lot of information on how to guide your training. And it can kind of feel overwhelming sometimes to receive coaching advice. But just know that like if you are trying to organize your training in any way, you're not going to mess it up, especially if you have even just like a loose plan. So let's get into it. So when you're planning your training in this way, you want to first think of the big picture. I'm going to use the example of 6 months in this demo because that's a manageable amount of time to me, but you can do any amount of time that you want. I'm not going to talk about it today in terms of like a specific trick or like a performance or competition, because that's just, again, a little bit more detailed. I'm just going to talk like basic strength and flexibility. So say that our goal 6 months from now is to be stronger and more flexible. We're not talking about any specific tricks here, and there's a lot of different ways you can plan it out. So this is a nice visual for me. Here is your 6 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have it in purple to represent our goal of strength and flexibility, and that's going to be the color that represents that in this demonstration. I have it on paper because that's easiest to do how I'm talking to you now, but you can certainly do it any way you want. Some people put it in there like a Google Calendar and then have each color for each specific like modality of training be a different color, and they like to be techie in that way. I've heard of people laying out like Post-it notes, which I didn't have, so we're doing it this way. You can also just think about it in your head, which works better for some people, and it's just easier for them to actually do it. So, sorry, my cat loves this crinkly toy. So yeah, you can totally do it in your head. You can lay it out on paper. You can do it any way you want, as long as you have some way of visualizing like your big picture plan. So let's dive into the details of the mesocycle. So each little like section in here, our month, is called the mesocycle, and we'll go over the details of what each week looks like in that. Zooming in onto the mesocycle. So we had our 6 little blocks of time arranged into our little mini cycles. Here is our zoom in picture of this particular mesocycle or training block, which is broken into 4 weeks. It can be 3 to 6 weeks. I chose 4 because that's like normally how much is in a month, and this was easy to talk about. So I have a flexibility focused week in blue. I have a strength focused week in red, strength and flexibility in purple. Get it? Because it's like mixing the 2 colors together. And then a flexibility focused week at the end. Ideally, after all of that, you take a active rest week. So throughout these 4 or 3 to 6 weeks, we are also undulating our intensity. So throughout these 4 weeks, you're not going ham the whole time. And I know so many of you are disappointed to hear that, but it's going to keep you from overtraining and also keep you from undertraining if you plan your intensities out. So in the beginning of this cycle, we're kind of like easing into it. Things get a little bit more intense in the middle, and then we taper off. You can also use this to plan your training with your menstrual cycle. If you're somebody who gets your period, that can be helpful. During the active rest week, you can arrange this however you want. Always. It's so exciting to be able to be creative with this, which is why I love it. So at the end, you take your active rest week, which to me, I generally guide people to just make sure that your rate of perceived exertion is below 6. So like a 10 is like going as hard as you can. A 0 is watching The Office on the couch. You are you're perceiving your exertion at a 6. So these active rest weeks mean different things for different people. Like a stretch class to some people might be active rest, but to another person that would be like a flexibility training day. So you have to make it personal to you, and you have to listen to what your rate of perceived exertion is, so you're getting an active rest week. So that's the mesocycle. Okay, so I added our mesocycle into our big picture plan. Here's our mesocycle that we just went over, all of the like intensity details and all the stuff in there. Looks pretty good. It's purple in general, strength and flexibility focused. It goes with the theme of our big picture. I'd say we did a good job. So this is where it gets wild though, because you can literally add anything you want into your cycle. So what else do we need? Say you go into this 6-month training cycle, you're doing your strength and flexibility, it's going great, but then your muscles as they are have gotten as strong as they can be for that size. So we need to put on some more muscle. What do we do? Let's go through a muscle building phase and add this in. So say that I want my 2nd month in my big picture cycle to be muscle building. I'm not going to go over all the details of this one. I'm just going to add it in with pink, of course, for muscle building. So there we are. We got about as strong and bendy as we could get with the muscle that we have. Now we're putting on new muscle. Super exciting. Probably going to take a deload week after that. You can literally add in anything you want. Say that some specific things you want to go for in your training like require a lot of balance. Maybe you want to add in like a balance training block. That would be sick. You can do it for neuroplasticity. I've done cycles where I'm simply focused on like being focused during that cycle. Like I'm like, this is my strength and focus cycle, which was super fun. Say you want to add like an intuitive training block. Like you're like, this feels like a little much for me. All of the planning and all of that stuff. I'm just adding in another strength and flexibility block here just for funsies. Say you want to add in like an intuitive training month where if I had like a rainbow pen, I would use that here. We color this in and this is our like intuitive training block. Probably not also with the muscle building block because that's getting to be a little much, but pretend that this is all purple, red, and blue stuff. And then we add in the rainbow training block here. So you can literally do it for anything you want. I'm gonna finish filling this out just so it's like a full picture. I'm gonna do strength, 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 strength here, and then let's do an all flexibility cycle here. Let's do that for like 6 weeks and then take a deload at the bottom after that. And then our last little mesocycle is gonna be strength and flexibility. So we are just like hardcore contortion training in this little blue cycle. So our goal of these 6 months was to have everything be mostly purple, mostly centered on strength and flexibility training. Remember, the blue is flexibility and the red is strength. So add these two together, they make purple. That was on purpose for the visual. So from afar, I'd say we did a pretty good job. We stayed focused on our goal. We had deload weeks where we can be like a little bit more intuitively training and we're getting like that break. Throughout all of these mesocycles, we're also undulating our intensity. Dun, dun, dun. So we're not dying the whole time, as much as I know we love that. So it's like, so again, you can do that for literally anything. Would love to hear in the comments. If you've made it this far, congratulations, by the way. I know this can get like a little dry. Clearly I like it, but again, super helpful if you are looking to feel a little bit more like purposeful in your training without getting like super specific with the exercises. So I would love to hear in the comments like what types of training blocks you are going to add into your training now that you know how to do this. Let me know. We still have a couple more things to go over though. Let's talk about the maintenance aspect of this. So while we're doing these strength and flexibility cycles, you have other aspects of training that are probably important to you. Endurance, if you do a lot of choreography, power and like dynamic aspects, probably like if you do a lot of rope, stuff like that, or like if you're like a power poler. So all of those things during this 6-month strength and flexibility phase are going to go into maintenance, which I know is super annoying, which means that we are only going to train that thing once a week. So to maintain a modality, you have to train it once a week. Otherwise, like you're taking a step back with it, which is also fine. Again, there are literally so many ways to do this. I'm trying to explain it just one. So let's look at our cycles again. Let's look at the muscle building phase that we added in. So our pink section here, in our muscle building phase, we're probably not like going to be super flexibility focused, but we're going to flex train once a week during this to just like keep it there a little bit. Probably mostly passive flexibility, so we're not asking the muscles to do a million different things. Yeah, and so then during our, let's see, we have like a big flexibility phase here. So when we go into the flexibility cycle here, we're going to be doing all of our like lifting stuff once a week and just maintaining our strength in that way. So that is what the maintenance phase looks like. This is not necessarily true for skills. That is something that is between you and your aerial, pole, or dance coach. Skills are kind of a different thing, and we did this without putting skills into it. So like your days that you are in the studio, like dancing or training, that would be a skill-based day. And I did this whole thing just simply for your cross training, which is like the thing that bolsters your skill days. So we're taking the skills out of this. Erin Cause has a awesome blog post on periodizing your skills. If you like this and you want to do it more like specifically for your apparatus or for your skills, I will link it in the comments below. And that's just a little bit more detailed with the skill-based things, because you can definitely periodize that too if you wanted to. But again, this is just for like your cross training and how you want to feel at the end of this 6 months. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this helps you to feel a little bit more organized. Again, I certainly wish that I knew this earlier. It can prevent that feeling of kind of like haphazard training. You know, you go to a workshop or something and you learn a bunch of stuff, and then you kind of feel like, oh, what happened to those skills? Like, what happened to that, you know, that like modality I was working with? Like, we did a bunch of bendy tricks in that Marlo Fiskin workshop, and now like I don't really like focus on that anymore. Like, how come I didn't integrate that? Like, I should have been training it more. It's like you can should yourself all the time, but the only way that you're truly going to like keep those skills and integrate them into your training like long term is if you plan for it. So one of the really awesome things is like when we go to these workshops, or like we see this Instagram post that like, you know, Elizabeth Be Fit posts this like amazing strength conditioning thing on pole. It is like so powerful to be able to say, that's so cool, I'm gonna save that for when I'm focused on it. So you can like focus on all those bendy tricks. You can focus on those cool, like, you know, strengthening and conditioning, like pencil climbs and whatever, when you are in that training phase. So again, you can totally do it for skills. Please let me know if you have questions or want help organizing your training blocks. This is literally what I do. I love to do it specifically for artistic athletes. I love to do it for people who are getting ready to go on stage. That is super fun. Let me know if you want to schedule a consult. We can take a look at your specific training plan, make a plan for you. All of my programs, if you already program with me or work with me in any capacity, your training is already periodized. You can exhale, you don't have to worry about it. Or if you are doing my level up programming, that is also periodized for strength and flexibility. So let me know how I can be helpful and how we can continue to talk about organizing your training and doing these periodized focused blocks.